People in the Fever are saying, y'all, that's not my point. There are a lot of other things going on, and players on this Indiana Fever team are saying, this isn't where I want to be over there. Yeah, some new shit. There's a lot. For example, when Sheryl Swoopes said this, DeWanna Bonner ended her 6-month Twitter silence. But instead of returning with a simple, hey, I'm back, post no, she made a statement so strong that it sent shockwaves through the WNBA. Not only is she officially joining the Indiana Fever, but she's also shattering one of the league's most stale and unfounded narratives. This WNBA offseason, Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever fans are toxic. That narrative destroyed a lot of dumbass narratives, and I hope they're gone for good. I also hope we spend a lot less time talking about nonsense. However, I think we've seen it stamped out this season, and one of those narratives was that people wouldn't want to go to the Fever because of the Fever fan. You might be wondering, wait, isn't this the team that everyone loves to hate? The one players are supposedly avoiding? Because she decided to play in Indiana, she was essentially called every name in the book by the same people who said, oh, she'll never play in Indiana for obvious reasons. She went on to defend the Indiana fans, saying that they were interacting with her in a positive way and responding to one of the crazy posts about her saying, can you please stop? Imagine this boner browsing through her phone, enjoying a quiet moment, when she comes across yet another round of misinformation from fans who are wondering why she would sign with Indiana analysts who are still holding on to the antiquated notion that instead of rolling her eyes and ignoring it, Boner did something much more powerful. It shows you that I hope all of that stuff has been put behind her. And of course, Boner's a pro. She responded, and not just with a clapback, she completely destroyed the conversation with one well-crafted tweet. She didn't just defend herself, she went all in for Indiana Fever fans, saying that you guys are loud, passionate, and real, and that's not toxic. That's what real fandom looks like. I don't use this app too much, but sometimes I just want to say thank you for all of the love I've received so far. Boner wasn't just making a personal statement. She was calling out the league-wide bias that has followed Indiana since Caitlin Clark arrived. She went online twice to call out the crazy people attacking her right now because she joined a Fever. This isn't just about fan reactions. It's about respect, something that Indiana Fever fans and their players have been denied. The hypocrisy exposed the double standard and how different fan bases are treated. Why is it that when other teams' fans show passion, it's called support, but when Indiana Fever fans do the same, it's suddenly a problem? Boner has been allowing the lies to continue for far too long. What really makes this impactful is that Boner isn't just a young player seeking attention. She's a legend, a multiple WNBA champion, and one of the most respected names in the game. When she speaks, the entire league pays attention. This isn't just a regular player venting on social media. It's a seasoned veteran who has played through eras of WNBA history, stepping up to call out the nonsense and defend her new team. I believe that seeing the player's choice made it clear that Indiana isn't some struggling franchise barely trying to stay relevant, with Caitlin Clark leading the charge. They aren't just trying to be competitive, they're going for the best teams in the league, and Bonner is totally on board with that mission. It's funny because if you see someone like DeWanna Bonner or Natasha Howard on social media, their posts are receiving 100 times more likes, and Bonner has probably never reacted more positively in her career. The best part is that the Indiana Fever fans are supporting her more than ever in response to her tweet, and the same people who vowed that no one wanted to play for Indiana are suddenly very quiet. People have been missing Sheryl Swoopes, and they have a be out for her. If you see Sheryl Swoopes, she talked a lot about the Indiana Fever and the locker room environment a few months ago, and people didn't want to play there and wanted to leave. Now all that's left to do is watch the haters try to change history by pretending they never said Indiana wasn't a desirable team and acting as though they weren't disparaging Caitlin Clark's influence. However, it's too late. The Indiana Fever have already won the battle off the court, and they're now preparing to win on the court as well. Thank you, DeWanna Bonner, for being an olive branch to us all so we can concentrate on the basketball. For the simple reason that I know many of those fans. The new fans felt rejected and beaten down a lot. and I believe this is symbolic. Deanna Boner, Caitlin Clark, and the Indiana Fever aren't just building a team, they're rewriting the WNBA's future, and if the rest of the league isn't paying attention yet, they will soon. You probably heard about the alleged controversy surrounding the Indiana Fever fan base, right? The storyline has collapsed faster than a poor defensive rotation. And you know who started this mess? Bonner's own wife was out there stirring. In my 11-year career, I have never encountered the racist remarks made by the Indiana Fever fan base regarding a serious matter that occurred in this world, and it is truly unacceptable. We have been professional throughout the entire situation, but I have never been called the things that I have been called on social media. However, the plot twist is that, in spite of all that noise, the star players, DeWanna Boner, Natasha Howard, Sophie Cunning, and Sydney Coulson, did not simply sign with the team, they embraced it. These aren't role players seeking minutes on. These are battle-tested veterans and high-impact players who saw all the headlines about a supposedly poor fan base and said, yeah, I want to be a part of that. There is no denying that the Fever are a fantastic basketball destination, and Caitlin Clark is a great basketball player. Let's talk about the numbers because, as usual, they don't lie. We're talking about sold-out arenas, merchandise flying off the shelves, and social media engagement at an all-time high. This isn't a struggling franchise that is barely hanging on. Rather, it's a team that has become the WNBA's beating heart. At the center of it all is Caitlin Clark, who isn't just attracting new fans, she is transforming casual viewers. Consider how absurd it all sounds. A few years ago, Indiana was dismissed as an afterthought in the WNBA, but now they're the hottest ticket in town. It's like judging an entire restaurant based on one negative Yelp review. It just doesn't add up. The fact is that every team has a few bad apples in their fan base. Caitlin Clark brought more fans to the league than it's ever seen, and many of them are Fever fans. There's no other way to describe it. Of outlier that's just desperate. So what's really going on here, and why are people so eager to attack Fever fans? The answer is straightforward. Indiana is winning not only on the court, but also in the fight for relevance, attention, and influence. And that makes some people uncomfortable. Instead of acknowledging that the Indiana Fever fans are the foundation of something special, the haters would rather spin this bizarre, baseless narrative that players don't want to play there. And I believe that many fans felt unwelcome because of the fact that there will always be bad apples among any group of people. And the larger that group becomes, the larger the small. The WNBA landscape is changing, and Indiana is at the center of it. A year ago, people laughed at the idea of the Fever being a desirable landing spot. But now they're trying to make sense of how quickly things have changed. If Indiana Fever fans were truly that bad, why are elite players lining up to sign contracts? Would multi-time champion DeWanna Boner choose to finish her career in a city where she felt unwanted? Would Natasha Howard, a former Defensive Player of the Year, commit to a team with a dysfunctional culture? Change Caitlin Clark isn't just a generational talent. He's a walking headline, a sellout machine, and the type of player who instantly makes franchises relevant. If you're good and playing well, it's great to be a Fever. If you're playing poorly, it's the worst place you can be. However, this isn't just about Clark. Indiana has been creating something for years. The Fab Four, Clark, Aaliyah, Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hall established a culture of teamwork, grit, and selflessness, which is why big names are flocking to Indiana. DeWanna Boner, Sydney Coulson, Natasha Howard, Sophie Cunningham. There is no denying that the Fever are a fantastic basketball destination, that Caitlin Clark is an excellent basketball player, and that they have a large fan base. I suppose that's what you're going to see in the end, because so many of those Fever fans I've seen are the ones watching Unrivaled, the ones watching women's college basketball. They want to solidify their legacy by winning teams, attracting winners, and right now Indiana is proving that they are more than just a rising team. They are a destination franchise. National TV games, sellout crowds,